Bienvenidos, welcome to PSPC Shetty PodCast. This is a little project of mine that I've had in mind for a little while now. I've been listening to a few podcasts that I'm a big fan of. Just to name a few, Talk is Jericho over at podcast1.com, and the Steve Austin Show Unleashed also at podcast1.com, and hell, the Ross Report by Jim Ross, also in podcast1.com. That's redundant. You gotta learn not to repeat yourself like I just did right now. And they say, well, edit that shit out. Don't leave the mistakes in the show. But you know what? I'm gonna leave the fucking mistakes inside. Also, you should know, this show is not gonna be for the people that are faint of heart. There's gonna be cussing. You wanna know why? Because that's what I do in real life. That's the JuanitoShet that you would get in real life. Lots of cussing. I'd be like, fuck this, fuck you, fuck her, fuck him, fuck that teacher, fuck the officer, fuck the old lady crossing the street. No, not fuck the old lady. She's nice. She's a nice lady. But basically, the Pretty Shetty Podcast, or PSPC for short, is going to be about anything and everything. Mostly though, since if you watched anything that I have on my channel, any videos, I have around 73, I think, on this channel. It's been a while since I checked. I actually checked right now, but I checked the last few videos that I made. But if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I'm into gaming. I'm what people would call a gamer, and sometimes I have trouble using that term to describe myself because there's a lot of people out there in the world who call themselves gamers. But then those people, those gamers, turn out to be assholes about every little thing. When it comes to gaming, you're like, hey man, I'm a big fan of Nintendo consoles. I'm a big fan of Sony. And then some motherfucker comes around and he's like, yeah dude, Nintendo and Sony blow, man. They suck donkey balls. Why don't you get the Xbox? Why aren't you playing Xbox Live? Why don't you play Call of Duty? That's another thing. You're like, dude, I enjoy Mario 2D platformers. I enjoy playing, the old school Kid Icarus for the NES or the 3D Classic on the 3DS. I'm a big Nintendo fan. If you've seen any of my videos in the past, you'll know that. But those people out there, not just Xbox fans, because, if there's any Xbox fans listening to this, don't get your panties up in a knot. I'm not trying to piss you guys off. I'm not trying to discriminate everybody like those supposed gamers usually do. But, it happens. Shit happens. So, back to the main point, because this is what happens with podcasts. When I listen to Talk is Jericho and the Steve Austin Show, the Ross Report, all those kinds of shows. And I want to listen to other ones too, comedy, and see how those people perform in their shows. I'm not sure how long this show is going to be, how long each episode is going to be, but I'm aiming for around 15 to 20 minutes. Those shows that I've already mentioned, those shows go for an hour or longer. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm not a famous celebrity. I'm a nobody. I'm just another fucking uploader on YouTube, So, I can't invite no celebrity, no fucking Jim Ross. I'm not going to invite no fucking Jeff Hardy. I'm not going to invite some singer from a band. Yeah, that's right, Chris Jericho. I don't got that power. So what I am going to do instead of inviting celebrities, I'm going to invite people I know, people that share one or more interests that I have. For example, like I said, this podcast is going to be gamer-centric. So I'm going to talk a lot about games. There's always news. Every freaking day there's something new in the industry of gaming that you can talk about. So there's always fun in that. So let's say I invite a friend, so we can talk about Super Smash Brothers. Because there's been a lot of hype. There's a lot of hype. There's been a lot of news about the next Super Smash Brothers game. With all those characters confirmed and everything. And that's awesome. So the purpose of the show is basically just to bring a bit of noise, a bit of audio, a bit of entertainment, if you will, to those that are bored and have nothing to do in any given day. So let's say you're just sitting there on your computer, you're on Facebook, you're on MySpace, you're on YouTube or something, but you get tired of watching those videos on YouTube, and ironically, these episodes are going to be on YouTube, and you just want something to listen to. You don't want to listen to your music, so you're like, you know what? I want to listen to somebody talk random shit, but I don't know who. Well, guess what? PSPC, the Pretty Shetty PodCast, is here to bring you just that. Something to listen to. It's nothing special. This ain't no wise guy talking some wisdom about Jesus or any of that bullshit. No offense to the religious people that might listen to this show. No, that's a bunch of bullshit. No religious people are gonna listen to this show because religious people don't like swearing, right? But to anybody that I know in actuality, in real life, people that I see on a regular basis, if you listen to this show, well, I hope you enjoy it. And for those people that I don't know, I hope you enjoy it too. But yes, the purpose is to at least give some entertainment to those people that listen to this show. Good, another fucking mistake right there. Mistakes, you gotta love them, don't you? Alright, there's no goal. That was the purpose of this entire show. But there's no goal. I'm not trying to get noticed. I'm not trying to really obtain anything. I mean, this show is for free. Anything you listen or watch in YouTube is free. So I'm not obtaining any money from this. There's no big corporation company sending me a check every month, every week. There's no sponsors like in any other podcasts. This is just a show from a guy who enjoys gaming. It's a show from a guy that's still growing up, still learning about life pretty much, that got up one morning and said, you know what? I want to do a fucking podcast. So here we are, doing the fucking podcast. There is no goal, no concrete goal. I'm just doing this because I want to go back to making videos on a regular basis. But since this is a podcast, it's not going to have any footage. It may have an image or two here and there, but that's about it. Now, as for what it is I'm using to make this show, well, it's really something simple. I am no celebrity, like I said before. I'm not a famous guy. I'm poor. I'm in the lower class of the middle class. So, on the way of equipment, I don't have much. All I have is my Sony Vaio computer, and I can already hear the people listening to this. Motherfucker, you got a Sony Vaio computer, and then you say you're poor. Ha! Well, alright, I wasn't poor once upon a time. I was in the real middle class of the middle class. And now, I'm unfortunately back to the lower class of the middle class. But my tools consist of my Sony Vaio computer, which I've had for about 5 years now, 4 years, give or take a year or two. And that's about it. Those are my tools. My computer and all the software that my computer provides. I mean, I have right here this tool called the Smart PC Recorder 5.0, and that's what I'm using to record this bullshit. Smart PC Recorder 5.0. And then I have the Notepad, the little program that every fucking computer, every Windows PC comes with. The Notepad in which I have a few little bullet points written down. Like it's on the left side of my PC monitor. And that's all I have. This is all improvised. There's no script. I'm too damn lazy to write a fucking script. So there's no script. It's just rambling and more fucking rambling and a swig of water because my mouth's getting dry. That's the best water. The water doesn't have any taste. So, yeah, a computer is being used to record this fucking show. Like I said, this show is going to be gamer-centric, but the intention here is to divide the show into 2 parts, 2 or 3 parts, maybe even 3, if I can come up with 3 things to talk about in one episode, which I can, don't worry. But right now, the plan is to divide each and every episode into 2 parts. The first part being, of course, the introduction. Welcome to the show. Thank you for listening, all that bullshit. And then I choose a random topic for that episode. I talk about, I don't know, I'm not into politics, but hell, I may even have politics here sometimes. Once in a while. Oh, the president fucked up this. He wants to charge more for that. Whatever. Or I want to talk about knitting a sweater. Like, oh, you want to knit a sweater? I can teach you how. I don't actually know how to knit a sweater, but you get the idea. And in the second half, since this show is going to be gamer-centric, it's going to be about anything and everything gaming related. So, like I mentioned earlier, there's some news about Super Smash Brothers. I'm going to talk about the news of Super Smash Brothers. If there's a new game coming out in a series that I really enjoy, then I'm going to talk about that game. And I'll ask a question or two. And if you have the curiosity, if you have any interest in the topic that I'm talking about, then you can post a comment right here below this video and be like, hey man, I think this and that about that game, about that series. I like it, I hate you, go to hell. You know, whatever. You're allowed to post whatever you want in the comments. I don't have to like it, you know. I used to play nice guy all the time in all the other videos I made. But the thing is, that's not always me. I mean, everybody in the world can be an asshole, right? Everybody. So that's the thing. This is the real JuanitoShet. None of that nice guy bullshit I used to put in my videos before that. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Or don't subscribe if you want. Do whatever the fuck you wish. There was no cursing. There was no swearing. There was no go to hell. No nothing. Nothing of that. A swig of water once again. Like Stone Cold would say, for the working man. Although I'm not sure how many of you would work. I don't work. But I do this bullshit. Yeah, I do study. I'm a student. At a university. I'm not going to say which one. But I do study. Even though I'm not working right now. Another swig of water. For the working man. Stealing lines from Stone Cold Steve Austin himself. Imagine if he actually ever listened to this. If he ever actually listened to the podcast, he's like, that motherfucker's doing a podcast because I inspired him. And I'd be like, hell yeah, that'd be an honor. But that's really not going to happen anytime soon, at least. So, for now, I'm just going to steal lines from the famous people. Because I don't have creativity. Actually, no, yeah, I do. I'll come up with shit as the show goes on. Holy shit, I'm already at 11 minutes and 56 seconds of the first episode. Rambling on about some random bullshit here and there. The intro is this. The show's going to be about that. And that's basically what the whole show is going to consist of. It's all improvised. It's all JuanitoShet. It's what you'd get if you actually met me in real life. I'm nobody special. Hell, you're nobody special. And I hope that doesn't hurt your feelings. But that's just the way it is. And what do you know? Did you hear that? Fucking phone starts ringing in the middle of the show because these people just can't leave me alone. I'm gonna make sure that in the future, that in my fucking house, there are no fucking telephones in the vicinity. Like, I gotta have my fucking cell phone, but that's about it. No home telephone, because then these people don't stop calling you. All these contacts you have. Like, dude, I just want some fucking silence. Leave me the hell alone. Or maybe I'm just too bitter of a person. But you know what? I don't give a shit anymore. Anyway, this episode has been over 13 minutes long now. So, I'm going to leave you. You can go now. This was the first episode of Pretty Shetty PodCast. And if you notice, Pretty Shetty at the very beginning was cut off. I have no idea why that was, but the file was cut off. But you know what? I'm going to leave it like that. Leave the mistakes in. Alright? No editing. Be lazy like that. Anyway, I am JuanitoShet, and I thank you for listening to, I was going to say watching. Did you catch that? I was going to say watching the Pretty Shetty Podcast, because I'm so used to making videos. But this is a podcast. So, JuanitoShet thanks you for listening to the Pretty Shetty Podcast, PSPC, Episode 1. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you for your time.